You have a collect call from
Dante Wynn.
an inmate at a California correctional facility to accept push 5. Perfect. Saladin, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir.
I'm here with I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Saladin-Da-Truth, man. It's a blessing to have you on here, brother. Man, everything happens for a reason. We got in contact through a brother, you know what I mean? So everything kind of worked out, you know what I mean? And I know right now you're in the inside, and it may be hard, but I know you got a bright future ahead of you, brother. Um, I know you want to start that podcasting deal, and start up your own little thing. Spreading awareness for the youth, prevention, all that. You know what I mean? The kids need it. The kids need you, especially because you've lived it. You've lived that whole experience with the whole gang life. The Crip life, and if they hear from you, it's going to get them on their toes. You know what I mean, and want that change, and it's very important, especially the crime now. I mean, we need more advocates like you to lead the role. You know what I mean. So
Yeah.
everything, like I said, everything happens for a reason. God put you in that situation. You're doing your years or whatever it may be, gaining the knowledge on the inside. Doing what you do, and then once you get out, it's a wrap. The sky's the limit for you, brother. But like I said, it's a blessing having you on here. Um, we're just gonna touch up on how you're raised, how you're brought up, your relationship with your family, your siblings, and then we'll just lead it all the way up. So we'll go from I know we got a time limit, so we'll probably go all the way till 6, and then we'll eventually, for the viewers that are watching, eventually do a part 2. So I'll have that scheduled on my YouTube as well. So make sure you guys tune in. But I'm here with the one and only Saladin-Da-Truth, and he's going to give you his life experiences, his journey. Yeah, let's get it. You ready to go, Saladin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, first and foremost, brother, I want to thank the Most High God for giving me this opportunity to be able to talk to an angel of light like yourself, brother. Like I explained to you that, your work you're doing is divine, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for you. And, truly God controls the show. So, I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to be able to bring some healing into the world, brother.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, brother. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes, sir.
So,
So,
yeah.
well, brother, as I'm a native of Los Angeles, and I grew up on the Normandy side of 68th Street, actually 1536 West 68th Street between Halldale and Dinker. Is where I grew up at, and that's considered a Trey Gangster Crip territory. And growing up, brother, I don't have one of them stories where I could take claim to my mother being dysfunctional or abusing alcohol and drugs and so forth.
Right.
That's not my story, brother. I had a wonderful mother. Um, she was young, and in her steps in trying to raise me, and she did a great job, brother. I grew up, you know, um, understanding the importance of education. I can remember, being at my grandmother's house. My grandmother, she lived on 8th Avenue in Hyde Park.
Right.
Um, and that's considered, Roller 60 territory. It's very symbolic how the relations be of how we're so close to each other, but we call each other, so-called enemies.
Right.
Um, and so at either at my grandma's house or, going to my mom's house, you know, us being in the house, me and my brother, who's rest in peace, we used to listen to the 45 album and, the Dr. King's speech, I Have a Dream and stuff like that. We grew up like that, centered around education. We had chores. I had to come home and do my chores and, assist in the home with my grandmother and me and my brother. And we had to be in before the street lights came on. And So these are the disciplines and the tenets that my mother raised us up on.
Right.
And I never seen my mother conduct herself in a way that was disrespectful to herself or disrespectful to us. And we learned growing up that we family. Me and my brother, we shared everything. From
Right.
clothes, the same bed or whatever the situation may be. It was just love in the household like that. And I learned that from my mother and from my grandmother. And so at that particular time, me growing up, it was just a lot of love in the household, brother. As at one point, my auntie, who she's not with us no more, she passed away.
Oh,
You
rest
know,
in peace. Sorry to hear that, bro.
yes, sir, yes, sir. She was going through some difficulty in her life and so forth, and she was in a situation where she lost her children, which is my cousins, and my mother, took them out of uh, custody, you know,
Right.
foster care, and brought them in our home, and I grew up with my cousin and so forth, and they became like a sister and brother to me and so forth. And being young like that, because I was the youngest, you know,
Okay.
I didn't really understand the importance of what was going on. So I was having a moment.
Right.
So
Right.
I was like, I got to share my bed. I got to share my room, and I wasn't really too much comfortable with that. But
Right.
then understanding what was going on, understanding that as family, this is how family come together and how we support one another. It just came easy to me, because the way that my mother and grandma explained it to me.
Right.
And so, yeah, brother, I grew up in a Christian household. You know, brother was in Sunday school and in church on Sunday. Praising the Lord. Singing in the choir,
Right.
and that's my upbringing. In the hood, my homies call me church boy. you know, and that's not something I'm ashamed of, brother.
Right.
That was a beautiful you know thing that I was going through at that particular time, and I'm kind of proud of that. To be able to um, have that upbringing like that, because ultimately, brother, that's what kept me strong through this difficulty. God,
Absolutely.
you know, and so that's the way I grew up, brother. Just based on them things, and you know, uh,
Now, Solid, and being the youngest, like being the youngest sibling, how was that for you? Like, and having your cousins come in as well during a difficult time, and
mhm.
like having to share that space, and growing up and during a time like that. How was that for you? Like, being the youngest.
Mhm. Well, it was like I said, it was confusing because as a child, and being immature and not knowing the virtues of friendship and family and so forth like that. I was being selfish about it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
my mom, like, what's going on? Like, what, why I gotta share and do this and so forth like that. But she just kept drilling in me. This is your family. This is your cousins. They going through something right now, so we have to be there for them.
Right.
And and so that taught me, how to be selfless in a sense.
Right.
Which led to my loyalty and dedication. To my gang. Sacrificing myself like that. You know, I learned that young. The importance of um, giving yourself up to something that may be more important at that time. And but it was very difficult. Like I said, confusing because I was a mama's boy and I was a young.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the
Yeah,
best, man. That's the best.
and so a lot of things that I did, I did in the effort to you kind of make my mother proud. I was a straight A student. Very very smart at a young age. I ultimately was in a magnet program, and my mom, she did a lot of things to try to fill the void. My father, he wasn't there in my upbringing, and So my mom, she put me in sports. I played football, I played baseball, I played basketball. I was in martial arts. Um, I used to draw. My mom even bought instruments for me to learn. She just did a lot of things to try to, keep my mind, focused and, not become distracted with, not having that, male role model in your life, which is very important,
Right.
for black men,
Absolutely.
having something to look up to. So, so my mom, she was playing mama and daddy, you know, and she was kind of smart in a sense because she knew she couldn't give me um, the jewels that I needed from my father. So she found, positive role models in the community to try to connect me with, so that wisdom can rub off on me, So that's why I say, like, my mom, she did a great job in regards to making sure me and my brother, had the um,
Opportunities
tools.
and
Yes, sir, the tools that we needed
right.
to navigate through South Central Los Angeles.
Right. It's Solden, especially like that during that time, South Central, you know, not having that role model or father figure. Your mom stepped up, and it was hard for her. You know what I mean? Especially having three children, and then your cousins coming in as well. It wasn't easy, and she took the perfect route. She threw you in, some sports. You found the love for it. Um, you're an artist now, and you still are. I saw the work you sent me, and it's beautiful artwork, man. And
Brother.
that's one thing I feel like your mom did the perfect thing. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot because a lot of parents they don't know what to. I mean, not a lot, but some don't know what to do, especially single mothers. You know what I mean? They don't know, especially when they don't have that father around to guide them in that right direction. Sports is the answer. You know what I mean? Having that love, how we were talking about before.
Mhm.
Finding that love. You never know what you may become. You know what I mean? You could
Yes,
be
sir.
the best. You could be the best pool table player or bowler, and you may not even know it. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. So
Yeah, most definitely. Because what I learned from that is that being in organized sports, it helps you learn camaraderie. It helps you learn the virtue of friendships and being obedient and able to respect authority.
right,
You
right,
know, and that's very important for young black men and young black women.
right,
Understand that we have to listen. Listening is okay,
right,
but being that we so young like that, brother, and we immature, and we don't understand the power that's in us. It's power in us, brother. The word of God says that God created us in his image. Just that alone tell you the type of power that's in you. God creates.
right,
So just imagine that type of power in you, brother. It is not cultivated. You spiraling out of control. You're a volcano.
right,
And so that's why you need your mother and your father there, to kind of help shape you to understand your capabilities and understand the power of God that's in you so that you can cultivate that into something positive instead of something negative.
right. Exactly. So Saladin, like for me, I feel like even though you didn't have that father figure, I mean, from what you tell me, I feel like you've lived a beautiful young youth life, and you mentioned that you did very well in school. You're hard in the books. Kept to yourself. What kind of like took that what made you take that different route? You know what I mean? And you're involved in sports and stuff. What made you take that different route?
In that particular time growing up, in South Central Los Angeles, and the gravitational pull of gangs was strong, brother. Very strong.
Right.
And my mother and my grandmother, my grandparents, they migrated from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when my grandparents came to California, they resided on the east side of Los Angeles, Aliso Village at first. And then they migrated to the west side of Los Angeles. So, my grandparents coming from Oklahoma and growing up in a way where, everything is centered around black excellence. And, my grandmother, she was Choctaw Indian, so, she grew up, with, native beliefs and so forth like that. The phenomenon of gang culture didn't even exist on that level, brother.
Right.
So coming into South Central Los Angeles and seeing, different elements in the environment, they didn't even understand what it was. So my mother, they couldn't explain to me, the different necessary tools that I needed to ward off the pressure of what's up, little homie, you with this? They didn't they couldn't give me that tools to
Right.
ward it off, so when you're dealing with that, and you're impressionable, and you kind of trying to decide on your own, like what I'm gonna do, because you in this situation and it's like it's just you come home and you tell your mom like her expectations. We all live up to the expectations of our parent. So her thing is go to school, don't get in trouble, do your homework. But I can't come and tell mom like, hey, when I'm walking from school, man, these dudes they pressing me.
Right.
They ask me what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna get with it or I'm not gonna get with it? What do I do, mom? She don't have the tools to tell me. What I'm saying, how I make a discernment on that. So
Right.
we have to kind of figure it out on our own. And the choice I made was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be bullied. I'm not gonna continue to go through this. So to do away with this, let me just join. And that's what I did. You know,
Right.
I I joined one of LA's most notorious street gangs and and started the process to be cultivated into a very destructive path. Very destructive path.
At a young age, right? At a very young age.
Yes,
Correct.
sir. 12 years old. 12.
You said 12 years old, right, Saladin?
Yes, sir. 12 years old, brother.
Man, 12 years old. What was I doing at 12 years? I was playing. What was I? I was playing video games, and I don't know how you did it, man. I don't know how you did it, and it's very this is exactly why I do what I do. It's because I find interest in hearing other people's stories, especially those that have been in the prison system. You know what I mean? Because it all starts with the youth years. You know what I mean? Majority of them, either you didn't have that father figure like we talked about, the role models, the guidance in life into the right direction. You know what I mean? Or the gang life. Feeling that neglect, not for some other from for some, feeling that neglect and love at home, not having that. The gang life, which is technically their family, their second love, is
Yes,
what keeps them going. But there's always consequences. The longer you're in the game, you know what I mean. You already know. The longer you're in the game, there comes with things that you have to do that you don't want to do. You know what I mean.
yes,
So
sir.
it's wild because being 12 years old, man, I I I can't imagine. I'm trying to picture it right now and imagine it, but I can't. I can't.
Yes, sir. Imagine that. So it is. So it's like this. It's like my mother. She was very like you know on her mommy duty. So it's like I'm being dressed with bugle boys and Latigra out the house and my backpack. And as soon as I hit the corner, that comes off, and I put on the Nike Cortez and the Chucks and the blue rag, and so it's like I was living a double life because my mom, she wasn't having that in her home.
Right.
I'm not coming in my mama house with my pants sagging and talking about what's up, cuz that's she not doing that. So I was basically lying to her for a long period of time of my involvement in the gang life because for one, I love my mother. I don't want to disappoint her or bring shame to her. And two, what I'm saying, I just felt like the respect that I have for my family, like you don't bring that to your home.
Right. Right.
And so for a period of time, at least like a year into that, you know, I was hiding that from my mom, and but it started off from stealing. We used in the hood, we raised pigeons and we raised dogs, and and we ride mopeds. So we still edgers, take the motor off that, and make mopeds. And so it start off with the little things, and then it evolves into bigger things.
Right.
And so my mom, she go in the backyard, where all these bikes coming from? Oh no, no, mama, everything. Boy, I didn't buy these bikes. Where you get these bikes from? you know?
Right.
And she was on it. She ain't having it. So online and playing games and next I'm getting a whipping for that. Because my mom was like, we just not having that. She wasn't that type of person that condoned breaking the law and stuff like that. She just wasn't into that. My mother never been in jail or anything like that. And
Right.
so she was trying to teach me and my brother to be honest about what we was doing. And but we seen something different. Like I said, we was caught up in a gravitational pull. So it started off with the small things, brother. And then it leads into bigger things.
Right. Absolutely. Before we get into the whole, because I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about the positives and what you want to do after prison, and we'll talk a little bit about, the prison, just a little bit about it. But now in that situation, you're getting pressed by, these dudes that are, part of the, LA's notorious gangs. And I mean, is there any type of like prevention? Like, can you give advice to the kids? Like, if
Mm-hmm.
they're in that type of situation, what can they do? And like,
Mm-hmm.
how you were in that situation where your mom doesn't really understand, never
Mm-hmm.
like lived that street life, whatever, whatever it may be. And no one really understood. And you're getting pressed by these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you really have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give like, if kids are going to be watching this, like some advice so that
Mm-hmm.
they can take and gravitate with it?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, one of the things is that we have to be mindful that when I look back in retrospect and I look at the demeanor and disposition of my homies, they were doing what they were thought they should be doing. So we only can do better when we know better.
Right.
You know? So when you in an environment that's kind of aggressive, then you start to understand that it's important for you to also be aggressive if you want to win.
Right.
So I don't blame my homies for conditioning my mind, and my perception on how to survive that aggressive environment. However, what I'm saying, when we know better, we do better. So I think that being that we are part of a inner city community, I think it's more important that instead of us being separate, that it's better that we do things collectively. Because
Right.
if I know your child and the next man's child, then you want to tell someone else child that to do something wrong because of the respect you have for that person.
Right.
But the way the communities is set up, it's separate. No one interacts with each other and things like that. So, my advice to parents would be if you're living in a community and you living on this block, know the people on your block.
Right.
Communicate to other parents and let them know like this is my child right here. If you see my child doing anything other than what my child's supposed to be doing, call me. Let me know what's going on with my child. Instead of
Right.
just living in your little complex and going to work every day and coming home and minding your business, that's not going to save your child when your child is out there in the elements trying to survive the position that your child is in. So, we have to communicate with each other. We can't be afraid of one another. We living on the street while we can't interact with each other. Who said we can't interact with each other?
Right. Absolutely.
So we have to interact with each other, brother. We have to, stop being so standoffish towards each other and looking at each other as enemies, and being distrustful to each other and start, taking the initiative to, communicate and show love to each other. That's the key right there, brother. Love.
Absolutely. Why is man? Free my boy. Free my boy. He needs to get up out of there, and he needs to have his own little deal, man. They they're holding you they're holding you in there way too long. That excessive amount of time, no matter what crime you did. Have you noticed, hey Saladin, as long as we talked, man, even before this, weeks before this, I've never asked how you got in prison, because
Yes,
I
sir.
just have that respect. You know what I mean? And if I like randomly called you, obviously I know you're in prison right now, but if I called you or if I met you, on the street, I would have never thought, you've been to prison. Just how intelligent you are and how you carry yourself in your mannerism. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
I
you.
feel like no problem. I feel like a lot of people on the street right now, how I remember how we were talking about it, you bump into someone and they're like, hey, what, kind of like threatening you a little bit, but like rather than being on the inside, it's like, I'm sorry, excuse me, pardon me, it won't happen again.
Yes, sir.
That mannerism will kick in because those dudes are gonna check you. But when you're outside, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? It's a whole different world.
Yes, sir.
So I respect you, man. I respect you a lot, and I don't care. I really don't care that you've been to prison or whatever your crime was. I could care less. You know what I mean? Everyone deserves a second chance at life, no matter the circumstance. You know what I mean? Unless you're child molester, whatever that was. I'm not saying you.
Yes.
Then that's another thing. You know what I mean? There's a
Hmm.
mental thing that needs to be
Address.
addressed, exactly. Um, but I mentioned you, and I think I appreciate the supporters that are in here right now. I see your guys' comments. Saladin, I'm not too sure if you can see it as well, but the people commenting in the YouTube right now, if you're able
Yes,
to
sir.
check that out, so they know. Um, you mentioned the foster care about
Hmm.
your cousin. I believe your cousin's getting out of foster care, taking him out. What are your thoughts on the foster care system? Because I feel like um, I'm not saying all foster care homes, but there's sexual abuse and physical abuse that goes on in there, and those kids feel so neglected. They tend to go on the street, and then they get caught up. The women get into prostitution,
Yes, sir.
drugs. So the boys, get caught up in the gang life, whatever it may be, and it's very unfortunate because these kids are very genuine, and they have a soft heart, but the stuff that that are getting hit at them, it's like and then they become hard hearted. You know what I mean? And it's very unfortunate. What are your thoughts on the foster care system?
Well, I think that, when we look at that, brother, anytime that you allow someone, just picture me and you in the house together, brother, right?
Right,
And our parents give us the responsibility of doing chores in our home. And there's a certain expectation with that. Mama expect and daddy expect us to do this and that way. So just imagine we go out the home and we tell someone else to come in and do our chores, right?
right,
The expectation is going to be off, brother, because the people that we told to come in our home don't know our parents like we do.
exactly.
And so I'm saying that to say that if we take charge of our youth and our communities and our people, then the situation will be different. Can nobody love us like we can love each other, brother?
That's right.
You can't expect somebody else to love you the way that your family love you. That's false expectations.
Right.
So if we start loving each other, I used to grow up. I remember when I was little and my mom, she didn't lock the door. I don't remember her locking the door. The door would be open, brother.
Right.
But now when you go and you drive throughout the community, it looked like Baghdad. You look at all the chains and bars
Right.
and everybody they got double screens and so forth on their homes, brother. Like they in a prison within their own home.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, it's a war zone, brother. So it's like, how can we function as human beings? We human, bro. You know what I'm saying? The holy text, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, it talks about this creator having an idea to create us. And in that he shares the position that he wanted us to be as human beings. Human beings, bro.
That's right.
That when I think about that and I reflect on that, like in my prayer, my studies, I'm like, wow, like, I was talking to someone and they were sharing with me like what they thought of me. And I was like, When I read the text, God tells me that He created me in His image. So I know my worth. So I'm not going to allow you to tell me what you think of me because God, my creator, told me who I am. You follow what I'm saying, brother?
That's right. That's right.
So I'm not going to allow
Absolutely.
you to tell me what you think of me because my God tells me who I am and why I'm here. So I'm saying that to say, brother, that, you know, those that are trying, God bless them. You have a lot of people in the world, they trying, they make an attempt to bring forth change. And we have to acknowledge that, whether they white, black, it doesn't matter what their ethnicity is. They're trying. But they only can do a small percentage of that, because if we start to understand that it starts in the home, it starts in the community, then we don't have to worry about our children being led off to these institutions and being disvalued as a human being. We are human beings, bro. Like, I mean, that's really something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when you look at the way that we are, the way that the creator created us, like that's powerful right there. So when you see another life being misrepresented, like, and it's not supposed to be that way, because God is telling us that He created us in His image, in His likeness. He put His breath of life in us.
That's right.
That becomes so sad to see a life just being wasted like that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take initiative. Sometimes we can't look for other people to take charge. If you see a child or someone going through something, you got to say, you know what? You got to have heart.
Right.
And you got to just address the situation respectfully, humbly, and try to bring forth a change. Because when people see you care about something, then that's how people are won over
That's
because they
right.
see that you care. Sometimes people need to be motivated to bring forth change.
Yes, sir.
So I think that with the different institutions that we have, brother, that's trying to make an attempt, to bring forth different change in, children's life or adults' life, that's good, brother. Like I said,
Right.
God bless. But ultimately, it starts with us. If there's an issue, you know, dealing with us, then why would we ask someone else to deal with our issue?
Right. Exactly.
I was watching National Geographic and there's a migration period in Africa where all the animals they migrate, brother. So when you're looking at the different herds, you see the zebras with the zebras, lions with lions, hyenas with hyenas, and they're all assisting one another through this migration.
That's right.
So we can look in God's creation and see the unity amongst the animals. You mean to tell me we can't unify, brother?
That's crazy. Yes, sir. I mean,
I mean, you think about that.
the
I mean,
analogy.
when you look into the world, God tells us, what I'm saying, that He created the heavens and earth, right? So there's things in this creation that we can look at that kind of help us in our common sense, brother. So if
That's
you
right.
see zebras, gorillas with gorillas, and alligators with alligators, that's showing you that there's some type of sense of familyness within these animals. So if they can express the sense of worth of being a family and a family unit and knowing the importance of, hey, we got to stick together because if not, these lions gonna eat us. Then you mean to tell me, brother, I can't look at you and help you and you can't help me? Nah, it's not supposed to be that way, brother.
All right. That's powerful. Solid, man. That's powerful. That's powerful, brother. Another thing I want to talk about too. I like how we're bouncing back right now. The police contact in poverty communities.
Mhm.
Uh, how? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think? How do you think? Like, what do you think the police need to do, or
Mhm.
these communities need to do to have a better relationship with one another?
Mhm.
And I feel like once that kind of makes amends by somehow,
Mhm.
prevention of crime can go down. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
it
sir.
can be a safer, these whatever you want to call them ghettos,
Mhm.
which is a ghetto can be a rich area. A ghetto is just a large
Yes.
amount of people in a community
Hmm.
But whatever you want to label it as, these communities and these poverty areas,
Hmm.
what do you think
Hmm.
that can make the relationship between them and the police a lot better?
Hmm. Well, one of the things I've been working on is establishing a nonprofit organization. It's called Help. Actually, it's called Helping Enforcement Love People. And so along with Gangster to God, as I was talking to you about, like I'm in motion with that because um the problem is this, brother. Let's go back to what I was sharing with you. No one takes more energy and concern with the dealings of your home rather than their home.
Right,
So it's just natural to do for self rather than to depend on someone else to do something for you. So why would I try to employ if I stay on 68th Street and I'm in South Central Los Angeles, then why would I try to employ someone from Arizona to come down here and to police me?
right, exactly,
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make sense, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people within your community should be the people that address your behavior.
right,
So if I'm on my street and I'm acting other than my natural self, and the neighbor like, you know, little man, don't pick up rocks and throw them at car, or, don't do this and so forth like that. You know, the exchange is more lovable because my neighbor knows me and know my family, brother.
that's right,
He's not ready to come off the porch and bust me in the head with no baseball bat. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm throwing rocks. He's not going to do that. It's not going to be that reaction because why? Because he knows my mother. He knows my family.
right,
So it's a different approach to the situation rather than when you have someone that's outside of your community come in trying to tell you about your behavior. So one of the things that we need to change is we need to stop employing people that don't know us, don't
that's
live by
right,
us, to tell us what we need to be doing when our behavior is off, brother. That's
that's
number
right,
one. Number two is there need to be a dialogue. There has to be acquaintance. If you're going to the police academy and you're being taught that I'm a nigga, I'm an animal, I'm dangerous, I'm suspicious, and I can't be trusted, hell yeah, I expect you to come up over here with your guns blazing.
right,
You scared to death. And so I don't think that should be taught, to a human being to be afraid of another human being, you know. So the education in regards to how, these cadets, you know, are being taught that has to change. I think that people within the community should go through the process with people that are trying to employ themselves in law enforcement because if you understand me, if you understand that my mother abused drugs or my father, is in and out of jail and I don't have no one to parent me. I don't have no one to guide me in my decision making, right? So I'm off,
right,
right? And this is why my behavior is like this, then you'll be more empathetic towards me than to want to come over and kill me because hold up, something is going on within my home that's allowed my thinking and my behavior to be this way.
yes, sir,
So we have to talk about that. See, we have to exchange that. Hey, this what's going on with me. Hey, what's going on with you? Hey, this what's going on with me. This what's going on with me. That exchange is important. Just to come and get against the wall, like I mean, who wants somebody just
right,
to come out the blue and you pushing up on me because you feel like you have a badge and a gun. That I have to just no. It's not. You're the job label is to protect and serve,
that's right,
right? So that also you know, comes along the alignment of us having a conversation. Sometimes people don't need to go to jail. Sometimes you need to talk and see what's going on. I'm not
hmm,
saying that I'm not promoting for someone to break the law. You know, I believe that rules and regulations are important. It saves lives. We can't just be running through red lights and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't have a sense of orientation about ourselves, then that creates chaos. So I believe that order is good. However, I believe that those that's trying to enforce the order has to understand how to do it,
Right.
you know, and that comes from having a conversation with me. Don't come over here trying to judge me, telling me about me, and you don't know me.
That's right.
Who gave you that right? Who gave you that authority to come and tell me about me? And so, we have to go back to the basis. And the basis is that we have to be mindful, all of us, regardless what uniform you have on, regardless who you think you are, you have to remind yourself that you are a human being just like me.
That's right. And I feel like, man, I'm glad you touched up on that because that's facts. That's straight facts, 100%, man.
Mhm.
Literally, you didn't miss a beat. And I feel like here in society, it is kind of changing now, and people think they're better than one another just because I drive the new 2021 Range Rover, and you drive the 2001 Honda Accord. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That right there doesn't make you better than someone else,
Mhm.
and that's what society's kind of transitioning into. It's about how I look. How I'm doing this. What do others? How do others view me? You know what I mean? So stuff
Yes.
like that is very unfortunate. But that's
Mhm.
another thing. In the police, how you mentioned, the police relationship, with those that are from different hoods or whatever it may be. They don't. If that cop, lived in a rich area and never experienced life. And for those that understand, they know what I mean by life experiences and things that they've seen. You know what I mean? They don't fit that job. You know what I mean? They're like you said, it's protecting to to serve whatever. Um, but you get those cops that are that have been brought up in the hoods and stuff, and that know the cities and stuff. Those cops become the best cops, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
crazy because I met this. I interviewed one of this detective, and he's from Chicago, and you know how Chicago is with the whole gang violence and whatever, and he
Yes,
runs
sir.
this whole organization of prevention. He has young Hispanic and black kids, white kids, whatever it may be, and he provides that safety and that father figure that they never had. And he's a
Mhm.
cop. He's a detective. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean? And he doesn't care how he's viewed by his department. You know what I mean? He doesn't care if he's being seen as a traitor. He's doing it to have that relationship with those that need it. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. Hey, how you doing? How's your day going? And that can change their whole entire day and their whole entire mood. You know what I mean? Into something positive because someone actually cares. You know what I mean, for them because they never had that. You get what I'm saying, brother?
Yes, sir.
So it's you like just like what you said. It's very important to have that relationship, and
Hmm.
without that, it's going to be the same. You know what I mean? This excessive force, come. That's like someone, Saladin. That's like you chilling in your house, legs kicked up, watching TV, whatever. Someone just comes in without their permission and just randomly, has their shoes on your couch and everything and with disrespect. You know what I mean? So it's, man, I can go on and on about that. And I
Yes,
feel
sir.
like we need more cops that have been that have had those life experiences because they can relate, you know what I mean? And they can have better communications. And they could sit down in these hoods and stuff with no guns, no cuffs, no tasers and stuff, and just chill, you know what I mean? Play some basketball,
Hmm.
knock on doors, and just talk, you know what I mean? And that's what it takes. But they're
Yeah.
scared, man. And how you talked about being in the academy, how to protect yourself, how to do
Hmm.
this, how to do that. Come on now, man. It's
Yes,
it's it's all I'm not but that's besides the point. I'm gonna let you take it, brother.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. The thing is um, at some point, brother, with the way that the world is changing, right? I'm gonna show you the wisdom of God. Watch this though. At some point, where the way that the world is changing, we see different weather patterns. We see the landscape is changing, but we know all things evolve, brother.
Right.
So at some point, brother, we're not going to have a choice but to come together, right, and assist each other on our survival, right? So it's not going to matter if you white or you black or you this or you that, because now we trying to survive. You follow me?
Absolutely. Yes,
And
sir.
so a lot of people are not paying attention, but sometimes remember, our Creator is wise. He's a wise God, right?
That's right.
So he understands the biasness, the prejudice, these unnatural things that's in our world, right? So he can be like, okay, watch this though. And look at this weather though, brother. Look how these seasons is off. So when the seasons is off like that, right? It puts stress on the earth,
That's
right?
right.
So we're gonna see like strange and phenomenal type of earthquakes and things like that. So just imagine when an earthquake happens and so forth like that, and you see someone life is in danger. You don't care that they white or they black. You're trying to help them, brother,
Right.
because you would want someone to help you. And it's sad that it's going to take something more powerful than our will to say, hey, let's take the initiative to try to do this. But if that's what needs to be done so we can become back human beings, then that's what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we human, right? So we all part of humanity. And that's what we forgot, brother. We forget that. And this is why I was telling you in our conversation that, you know, I looked at the butterfly. One day I was observing the butterfly, and I thought to myself, like, how did it become the butterfly? So when I went through the metamorphosis of the caterpillar to cocoon stage to the butterfly, I started to see the caterpillar as the inquisitive. You know how you be young, brother, and you out in the world, and you just searching, you just seeking, you just trying to discover things. But then when you come upon something and you claim it, right? That idea, you claiming that idea, it imprisons you, brother. When I said that I'm a Crip, I'm from A-Trade Gangster, that imprisoned me.
Right.
And I had to spend years, brother, to break free from that cocoon, to
That's
come into
right.
my natural self. And and so that's the thing, that's the thing that we're all going through as individuals. We're trying to find the truth in things. We're trying to find our way, but we put ourselves in prisons. Or I'm white, so I'm better than you. Or I'm black, so I'm better than you. Or I'm a Republican, or I'm a Democrat. Come on, brother. You know, and these ideas, it imprisons us and it turns us into demons,
That's right.
and people build off these passions to ruin other people's life and to destroy other people's life. But hold on, though. If I'm not mistaken, the Bible says that in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. So what are we doing?
All right.
And we forget these things, and it becomes arrogant and prideful to think that you just brought yourself into this existence. This is why I always give acknowledgement to the Most High, brother.
That's
I'm not
right.
no freak or anything like that, but there's a creator. And like I was explaining to you, brother, in regards to, the steps that I've been taking in my journey, I prayed and I asked God to send the right people on my path, and then I'll meet you. Now, come on, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Everything happens for a reason, man.
You mean to tell me I get on my knees and I say my prayer and I'm asking the Lord to bring positive people into my life, to change the course of my life, and then I'll meet you, brother?
Hell yeah. Likewise, man. No, no, likewise. You know what I
You
mean?
know,
It's yeah,
so that tells us that prayer works, and that tells us that things is happening. You know what I'm saying? Things is happening. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see these supernatural things take place, it reminds you, that there's something more powerful than you that's working things out. And I think that's what we have to get back to, brothers, to keep ourselves humble. You know,
that's right.
we forget
Yes,
how to be
sir.
humble with each other. We all puffed up and like you said, brother, I'm better than you. I got this core. You got you. Everybody think they better than each other, not realizing that we all bleed the same.
That's right. Yes, sir. Say it
Mhm.
louder. Say it louder for the people that the closed minded ones, man. Shoot.
You feel me?
That's
We all
right.
bleed the same. Our heart, beats the same. We all have the same body organs. We all have DNA. You know, we all part of the same species, you know, and that matters.
Right.
You know, that really matters right there, brother.
Absolutely. Hey, Saladin, man, I wanna touch on this real quick.
Hmm.
Um, Now you were talking about, the crip life and all that, and how that you're in that cocoon, right?
Yes, sir.
So what like kind of transition, you into like, hey, like I want to make better for myself, you know what I mean? What was it, that special someone? Was it something that happened? What was it that made you want to be like, hey, I kind of want to change my life around for the positive?
Mhm.
Was it that special someone?
Well, you know, looking back, you know what I'm saying, on the steps that I was taking to, you know, get to where I'm at now, it was different situations, brother, that I was in. You know, I think I shared with you one encounter. You know, I was having a conversation with my daughter,
That's right.
and, you know, and she was like, "Dad, you know, do you love me? Like, are you trying to come home? Like, why are you, you know, getting in trouble and doing these things?" And to hear my child tell me that, brother, you know, it made me weak. You know, I felt so uh, ashamed, and not only ashamed, it just made me, you know, it was like an aha moment. I'm like, I had to ask myself, like, what am I doing?
Right.
You know, so that's part of it. You know, being in situations where, you know, um, you with individuals, you know what I'm saying, that you think that's your homeboys, you know, those that you're ready to sacrifice your life for, and then you hear about what they saying about you,
Right.
and then what you
Right.
think it is not what it is. You know, all them things is painful, brother.
Right. They kind
It's
of backstabbed you in a way.
Yeah, it's painful, brother, because it's like, you know, you neglect the love from your immediate family, your mother, you know, people that care about you. They love you. You know, your family
Right.
love you. You know, and then you turn your back on your family because you're trying to uphold, you know, an ideology and a belief that, you know, you believed in, and the people that you would die for and risk your life for to turn on you, you know, or uh, to speak down on you in a way, you know, that's mind blowing right there, you know, and because that has nothing to do with the term of endearment of us being homeboys, which means that we grew up in the same neck of the woods. I know your mama, you know my mama. We walked to school together, we walked home together, we fought together. You know, we talked to girls together, we played marbles together. You know, to have individuals that you grew up with, and we use the term of endearment that we homeboys, to have individuals on this level with you turn on you for no reason. I didn't steal from you. I didn't try to get at your girlfriend. I didn't speak ill on you. Brother, that's painful right there, brother. So when you go through stuff like that, it makes you stop in your tracks like, hey, what's going on?
That's right.
Because
It
you
makes
don't
you
see it coming.
go for your house. It makes you trust no one, man. It's hard to trust.
Yeah, it makes you like, what is going on? You know, like, you told me to ride, I rode. You told me to do this, I did this. You know, I did everything you told me to do. You know, if it was a, a standard of to get credit, you know, it would be a PhD.
Yeah.
You know, and what we do, you know, we put so much energy into it where it becomes mastery at some point. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
to do all these things, brother, and you know, to hear what you hear, you know, it's heartbreaking. You know, but like I was telling you before, like, you know, I used to have a problem with the narration. And, you know, it's how we learn about how Jesus, you know, died on the cross for our sins and stuff like that. You know, but what I thought about, you know, my portrayals in my life, I started to understand, brother, that in order for us to be healed, right, from our inner disease and our inner ignorance, we need to feel that pain, brother.
That's right.
We need to feel that pain, brother. You know what I'm saying? And that can be symbolically of dying on the cross. Because once you die on that cross, brother, once you die, what I'm saying, on that pain that you're going through, that suffering, whatever it may be, whether it's drug addiction, alcohol addiction, whatever it may be, once you die on that, meaning that you at the point where you just can't take it no more, then something awakes in you that makes you don't ever want to go back to there no more.
That's right. Absolutely.
And seeing the
Absolutely.
pain from my brother, my daughter, all the different angels that the Most High God sent in my life, doing this journey to keep me encouraged through all this difficult time I've been going through, brother. I had to come to a realization and I said, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep telling myself that this is what it is and I know it's not true. I can't keep living a lie. So I had to turn a negative into a positive, and even taking them steps, comes the difficulty because, okay, see now, then I'm trying to do something positive, or you ain't with it no more, or you soft, yo, you getting soft, homie.
Right. Right.
So it's like, okay, when I was doing this, you had something to say, and now doing something positive, you had something to say. At
Yeah.
some point, you have to just be strong enough to say, you know what, I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with that. But I'm gonna do this though. You have to be fine with that. You can't be just hung on and looking for other people validation, right? And and more than anything, that's what I learned, brother. That we come into the world and we attach ourselves to things, and we think that's what it is. Even with relationships, brother. You know, we get into relationships with people, and the love feel good. You know, but if that's not God's plan for you, then that relationship is only for a season.
Right.
See, some people are meant to be in your life seasonal, and then some people only meant to be in your life for a season. And I never
That gave me the
understood that.
chills.
Yeah, I never understood that, brother. I was kind of, confused with that. But then, I was reflecting on the book of Ecclesiastics in the Holy Bible, and it talks about the different seasons, and it talks about the wise preacher Solomon and how he investigated all these different matters in the world and the conditions of people and kings and rulers and the peasants and so forth, and how he explained that there's nothing new under the sun. When I really started to reflect on that, brother, I said to myself, well, okay, well, wow. If the things that we're going through now has already been experienced by other people, then that means we can look at other people's life as a correction for our life.
Right.
So if something is disrupting taking place in my life, then why not just learn from the other person's mistake and I shouldn't have to suffer from it? So if me and you are brothers and we constantly arguing with each other and we can't get along with each other, that's an indication that something is off.
Right.
So do you continue to force something that's off, or you
No.
just accept the fact that your season came to an end?
You gotta accept it.
And so we have to, this where wisdom coming at, brother. We have to be able to pay attention to what's going on in our life and what's around us, and be wise to how to deal with these things. And so I don't look for people validation. You know, I know who I am, brother. I know, what I have done, and I know where I'm heading. And so for with that, like it just humbles me. Like I'm grateful. you
Right.
know.
A solid, and I'm gonna tell you something real quick, and you probably already know this, but haters are gonna hate, and if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. You know what I mean? So as long as you got haters, you're doing something positive. You know what I mean? They just they're on that bandwagon. They wish they were you. You know what I mean? That's if you already knew that, you know that, but if you didn't, Um, but I want to talk about, uh, man. I want to talk about. I don't even want to talk about the prison. Like I already know it goes down the prison politics. Your journey. I'm pretty sure, like to get you through prison was your family. You know what I mean, and all that. You know what I mean. Uh, but I wanted to talk about the afterlife. What plans do you got? Do you have? That you want to get involved in once you get out, because you're getting out sometime soon, hopefully. Um,
sir.
so what plans you got ahead for you, brother?
Well, I feel like, you know, brothers like myself and as many other brothers, what I'm saying, that is going to be free from God's hidden university. I don't call this prison, brother. I call it God's hidden university. And and the reason why I call it that because this is where God reshapes men, brother.
That's right.
It's on that mountain. Moses went up on that mountain, brother, to get that 10 Commandments. You follow me, brother?
Yeah.
He had to
Yeah.
go up. He had to climb, brother. You know what I'm saying? So we have to climb in our life to get revelation. So I believe that this time that, I had to walk through on these hot coals, it's honorable, brother. It's honorable where you can, go through something and go through great suffering. But from that, you can help others, so getting out of here, brother, and definitely, what I'm saying, saving people's life from false illusions and false ideas that has nothing to do with life. That's what we own. That's the mission, brother. You follow me, sir?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the mission right there, brother. So if it's just one person, that I can bring, you know, the real to, then my job is done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with that, But definitely, when we go through stuff like this is not personal. My personal growth is not for me. It's for everyone, brother. And that's how we
Right.
have to do this because our people are suffering. Humanity is suffering. When I see someone and they racist, brother, and they hate us because we black or whatever, nationality we are, I look at it and I see a lot of suffering within that person.
That's right. That's facts.
I see the suffering, brother. I don't see the hate, I don't see the prejudice idea you have in your mind. I'm like, man, this person going through something.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
You're real. That's real, bro. Yeah, you're
You
touching on
know,
it.
because who can just, go against, like I remember a time where uh I was in a situation where, you know, we was in a mall and a robbery took place. I'm saying, inside the mall or whatever. So the cops came or whatever like that, and we were just standing there. And so the officers came and they was asking questions in regards to what happened. And somebody next to me was finna to blurt something out, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody else was like, hey,
Right.
But then when I thought about that, like, years later, it's funny how when you have no choice but to sit down, you reflect back on different things, and it be the small, minute things that come to you. When I thought about that, brother, I was like, it's so natural for us to be honest and truthful, and to be empathetic, compassionate, but we train ourselves to be contrary to what God created us to be.
Right.
Now, the right thing was just telling the truth,
That's right.
right? But we condition ourselves to be other than that. So just imagine that type of suffering, in that type of prison that you put yourself in, being something other than your natural self, brother.
That's right. Absolutely.
And that's what we do, when we take on these egos and we take on these, these trips, these mental trips. That's all they are, they mental trips. You know, you go to work every day and you Mr. Such and such to your colleagues, but then when you go home, you're an abusive husband to your wife, or you molesting your children, and you're doing all these sick things that you're doing, but when you go into the world, you betraying that you this person,
Mm-hmm.
but behind the scenes, you that person. These are some cold mental trips, but it's the suffering, it's the sickness, what I'm saying, that we go through it. A lot of us, and a lot of gang members are suffering from mental health issues, brother.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
A lot of us suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. The A-Track
Mm-hmm.
Gangsta Crips in the rolling 60s is the longest Los Angeles gang war, but then on American soil, brother.
That's right.
So just imagine growing up and you're constantly, you know, uh, fighting, against someone that stay 5 blocks from you, every day. This is what you're doing. It's insane to think that that's not going to cause trauma on your mind.
Right.
You know,
Right. Absolutely. And it's like you guys are I mean, 5 blocks away, you guys are probably living the same exact lifestyle and
Mhm.
lives and stuff going on at home. And it's like there's being, I mean, we're killing and all this, killing our own people, man. And the, I mean, the whole, I'm going to get on this real quick. I want to, before I say something, what's your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter? What's your true thoughts on the Black Lives Matter, brother?
well, for one, like anytime, anyone takes steps to try to bring forth a change, that's honorable, brother. You know what I'm saying? The Bible tells us the greatest love is the sacrifice for your friends. That's the greatest love. That's the greatest expression of love is to sacrifice your life for someone else, right?
Right.
So when you see these people out there, they don't really know the element of danger they in or what can possibly happen. We know the history from the Freedom Riders and Dr. King and Rosa Parks and what was done to our ancestors and to the greats was for them to block that fear out, right? And to go out there and to express to the world that, hey, this type of change needs to happen. I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing. However, what's sad about it is, once again, if my creator gave me life, my creator gave me life and told me, I'm going to create you to be this way. And this is what I want you to be in the world. And this is what I want you to do on my behalf. Who are you to stop me from doing what my God created me to do?
Right.
So it become insane, what I'm saying, that we have to create a movement, brother. You know, a movement, brother, to tell another human being, hey, let me live. Let me be the way that God created me to be. That's insane, brother.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
And it.
insane. The grizzly bears don't have to fight for their existence. The crocodiles don't have to do it. The birds don't have to do it. But we have to do it as black people. We have to start a movement. We have
Crazy.
to start a movement, brother, so that we can live and we can be as our creator created us to be. There's something strange about that.
Sure is. Hey, nothing can break our people though. That's facts. You know what I mean? And then
You know,
that's facts.
there's something very strange about that. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that, because this is something that you reflect on, all the days of your life, because you can feel the pain, when your people going through something. There's a connection there. We all connected to one another. And, and I think about this every day and I'm like, we all ask God why, you know, and sometimes, what I'm starting to understand, brother, is that when you trying to get rid of a thing, right? Sometimes you have to exhaust that,
That's right. Yes,
right?
sir.
Because look at the suffering that we go through, right? 400 plus something years, right? Of this type of oppression and this type of abuse for us being who we are, right? Who God created us to be, right?
That's
So
right.
now, do you honestly think that because all this is going to be over with, you know, it can't last forever, brother. You know what I'm saying? So when it is over with, think of the responsibility that those that have that are in rule to make sure that none of these things surface again. So we can't we have to make sure that none of these mental diseases surface again, brother. We can't be having prejudice. We don't want to invoke that on other generations of I'm better than you because I look this way, or I'm upper class because I got a Benz and you don't. That's ridiculous.
Right. Right.
So maybe we do need to exhaust this idea, right? So we can get it out of our system, right? So we can do away with it. this, right? And we don't never have to experience this again.
Preach it. That's right, man. Like I
So,
said,
I
Saladin.
definitely,
I'll go for it. Go for it. You're good.
oh, excuse me, brother. So I definitely think that something divine is taking place, brother, because it just doesn't make sense. Animals, brother. When you watch commercials, they got these commercials about the dogs, adopt a dog and
The
animal cruelty.
SPCA's and stuff. Right.
For real, you mean to tell me a animal life is worth more than mine? I mean, how you think I'm supposed to feel that way when you
Right.
donating $20, to stop animal cruelty, but every which way I turn, I'm being called a nigga or treated like a nigga?
That's powerful,
But
man.
I mean, that's crazy, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because we see this though. Donate $20 or $10 for the animal shelter, and they put the little saddest looking condition puppies.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying, on the TV. How you sad, and you like, wow, like, that's messed up, like, but here it is, like, you know my people being shot and killed.
That's right.
You don't take that in consideration. Like, I mean, we gotta fight you so we can live. I mean, it's just something terribly wrong about that, brother. Like, for real, and so my thing is, how can I get out of prison and wanted to promote war and genocide against my people, right? And it's happening on another level. Like, I'm done with that, brother. I'm done
Right.
with that. I'm done with that.
Saladin-Da-Truth for president, man. We need to get you. We need to get you out, man. For
Yes.
real. We need to get you out. We need to do something. We need to talk to Biden or Biden, whatever it may be, because we need you for president, man. Something. Shoot, man. That's crazy, man. Once you talked about, the comparison of, dogs and us blacks, the lives, the livelihood, whatever, that gave me chills, man. You know what I mean? And it people don't really understand unless you're in our shoes, you know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's wild. Do you have any you got any shout outs that you wanna speak on? Maybe some family members in here, any of the
Yes, sir.
buddies
Yes,
up in
sir,
here too?
brother. First and foremost, brother, like I said, I want to thank you, brother. You know what I'm saying, for the work that you're doing. It's a wonderful thing, brother. And may the Most High continue to bless you, brother, with the steps that you're taking, and bless your family, and bless you with good ideas, brother, to bring forth this healing into the world. Because every time you talk to someone about their experience, brother, what I'm saying, it's medicine in that.
Right. Right.
Somebody to figure out a formula, what I'm saying, to bring some type of healing into the world. So, brother, I congratulate you on your work, and like I said, brother, I'm with you and I support you, brother. Um,
I appreciate that.
um,
Hey, big
and
big things for you down the road once you get out. It's a wrap, man. Once you get out, it's a wrap. Sky's the limit.
yes, sir, yes, sir, man, and it's God's will, and I'm just grateful, brother. What I'm saying, for my family. What I'm saying, people that are in my life that believe in me, that haven't stopped believing in me. That means a lot, brother.
Right.
We've been cut off and outcast and cut off from the world, told we were low lives and scums and all these type of things because of our behavior. Not processing things correctly in our minds allow us to make bad decisions where we become cheaters and manipulators and liars and robbers and thieves, and so you can understand the effect that your behavior has on people. So yeah, so a person does have a right to feel this type of way about you. You didn't treat me right. You didn't
Right.
do me right. Yeah, I look at you that way. So I get it. I understand, brother. However, I'm trying to get right though. So if I've been taught something wrong and that corrupt me and poison me, and I'm seeking the right formula, can you help me get there? You feel me?
Right.
I mean, don't put sticks and cards in front of me where I can't get to it. Let me get to this formula, that can bring healing to my mind and to my manifestations, and bring healing into my community, into my relationships, with my family members and people where it count. You know what I'm saying? Don't, become a burden to me in that
That's
process.
right.
Because sometimes brother, like, you know, people, they don't want to forgive you for what you have done, right? And this is why brothers, uh they have to sit so long in prison, right? Because they think that it's about punishment. But ultimately, what you were taught is what you become. Thoughts become things,
Yep.
brother. You know what I'm saying? So, if I was taught, we see that, when we look at the documentary Muhammad Ali, he had people in his ear, you the greatest.
Yep.
Can't no man on 2 feet beat you. You the greatest. So if you hearing that all the time, brother, then you become
You're
great.
gonna
We
be. Yep.
become what we think. And so if we taught, if I'm telling myself I'm a gangster and I'm a crip, if I'm constantly telling myself that, what I'm saying, I take on that manifestation, brother. That's how powerful words are. That's how powerful our ideas are. So if we understand that process, and we understand that if our minds become corrupt, right, and it leads to these manifestations, right, and we know that to be re-educated brings forth a different behavior and a different mindset, then let your brother get that education so I can become better.
Right.
You follow me, brother?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So, I'm just
Man.
grateful for everyone that didn't give up on me. I love my family, different people in my life, what I'm saying, that support me, and more importantly, I thank God, what I'm saying, for, allowing me to keep my sanity. Brother, that,
Right.
incarcerated, brother, I never indulged in homosexual activity. I never indulged in drug abuse or drinking abuse. The thing that kept me strong, brother, was what my mother taught me. Believe in God.
That's right.
That's what kept me strong, brother.
Powerful,
And
man.
my
And
prayers, reading the word of God, that kept me strong, and because it allowed me to understand what was going on, when, different difficulty coming my way. I'm able to understand the story of Saul and David. Saul became envious of David because they said Saul killed 1,000 men, but David killed 2,000. So, having these stories in my mind, Samson and Jonah, and all these different stories. And when I see these things appear to me, I already knew the outcome of it because I knew how to act through the process. You follow what I'm saying, brother?
right. Right.
Because my mother taught me these stories. So I knew these stories. I knew when someone came in my life and they tried to help me from situations. This is Jonathan and the relationship he had with David, telling David, man, my daddy trying to kill you. So I think you should leave. True friendships like that. So, when we have people that come into life like that, that's aiding us in difficulty, and you see things that appear a certain way, I can reflect on that because this is what I learned in these Bible stories about
Right.
Jonah. God telling you to do a thing, but you like, man, I ain't doing that. These people, they doing this to my people. I'm cool on them. Let me go ahead and take this trip and get on. And then God brings a storm in your life. So then think about all the things that's on your heart to do, but you being disobedient, you don't want to follow it. Then things break out in your life, and you wonder what's going on. Well, you're not being obedient. So when you look at these stories, people say, "Oh, well, the whale swallowed Jonah." So they look at the whale as a punishment, but it wasn't a punishment, brother. It was a mercy because the
Right.
story tells us inside the well, Jonah repented, and in 3 days the Lord spit him back to shore. So that tells us that there's a process in repentance, right? So that means
Right.
that when he came out of that rebellion state of mind and he became back into his natural God mind, God was able to use him again and now sent him to do what he told him to do. So all these different stories I learned, brother, when I was young, and then different things coming to my life, I understand what's going on because I'm
That's
Bibled
right.
up. You feel
That's right. Well educated, man. Far beyond educated for sure. That's
me?
facts. And like I talked about before, uh, you can teach a college class right now if you wanted to.
Yes,
Easy. easy. Better than these professors that have master degrees, PhDs, all that, man. And it's crazy. Never judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? And you don't know what that person has been through and who they are now. You know what I mean? Everyone, like I said, deserves a second chance. And your next chapter 2. Once you get out, it's you know opportunities, and the sky's the limit. I know you want to start that podcasting deal. You know what I mean? Which would be
Yes,
very
sir.
cool. And I'm there along the way with you. I got
Yes,
your
sir.
back. Whatever you need, I'm there to guide you in that right direction. You know what I mean? You're still young, man. Still young. So,
Yes, sir.
like I said, the sky's the limit for you. What you about to? What do you? Because you about to get out soon. I'm not gonna drop the. I don't. Oh, we're praying, but what,
Mhm.
what's on that mind? What do you want to eat once you get out?
But you know what's crazy, brother? Uh, I've been thinking about just going to the beach, brother. And just reflecting. That was something I used to do when I was out. I used to go to the beach and just, you know, put the city life behind me and just reflect, brother. I'm trying to get to one of these beaches, brother, and just talk to God and just reflect. I have really too much to think about the food, brother. Just more of the location.
Right, right. Hey, over here in I know you're down in LA, but you got to hit that Central Coast over here by Pismo.
Yes, sir.
Pismo. Once you're out, let me know when you're out, man. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna give you a trip down to Pismo. I'm gonna take you this restaurant. Fire food, man. I'm
Okay.
telling you, got some clam chowder, got all that. So I got you. Let me know, and we'll get that straight. But yeah, location's very important.
Hmm.
That ocean. The how soothing it is to the mind.
Hmm.
The mental health. It's kind of a refreshment and reassurance. You know what I mean? So that's very important.
Yes, sir, brother. So that's kind of a bit on my mind, and just spending time with my family, brother, and trying to take these steps to get my life back on track. Brother been in the war zone, brother.
That's right. Yeah. For how long? 20 years since you were
It's
19,
been
huh?
20 years, brother. It's been war, straight war, brother, for 20 years, just mental war. Everybody you encounter, what I'm saying, has their own will. And so when you constantly, conflicting and interacting with other strong wills, brother, that become exhausting. So, just imagine 20 years to stand on point, paying attention, imprison your senses or heighten because this paying attention what keeps you alive. So just imagine the type of trauma you cause on your body, just always being alert, always paying attention. So a brother trying to get to that beach.
Hey, it's waiting for you, man. It's waiting for you. I'm telling you, it's calling your
Yes, sir.
name out, bro. It's calling your name out. But um, I'm praying for you, man. And in the meantime, keep the head down. Do what you've been doing to keep you, sane and being 19 years old, bro. 19 years old. Hitting these California pens, man. It ain't easy, and you have to understand. I don't understand because I've never been in your shoes. You know what I mean? So I can't really say anything. But it's
Yes.
difficult because I know it is. It ain't easy.
Mhm.
And doing 20 years of that, people go, crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And you've kept your head. You're very very you have a good connection with God, and I feel like that's helped you along the way with your family as well, keep you sane, right? And that's a blessing. You know what I mean? So you've been blessed. You're about to get out soon, like I said, and it's a wrap. You know,
Yes,
but
sir.
anything I can stay on here, man. I can stay on here for days. I'm telling you, I'm serious too. I'm passionate about what I do. I love it, and anything that you wanted to touch on that you didn't touch on for the people?
Well, I mean, more importantly, I just think that it's just important for us to understand the time we in. And
Right.
a lot of things, like I said, a lot of things that manifested, what I'm saying, before us, it kind of shows us the interior of what's inside our hearts, and I was talking to a brother the other day, And this was a brother that on the streets where we was trying to harm each other. And but now this is my brother, and we was talking, and I said, man, it's a funny thing where your friends become your enemies,
That's
but
right.
then your so-called enemies become your friends.
Mhm. That's right.
That's a funny thing right there. you know,
That's
it's like,
crazy.
how does this happen? How do your friends become your enemies, but then your so-called enemies become your friends? So it's just a polarity in that. And I
That's
think that
right.
in that is a sign, and that's what I was talking to the brother about. I'm like, if we were enemies, but now we are friends, then I let us know that whatever ignorance of idea that we embrace, we can break that, right? Because we friends now.
Right.
And so that means that we never was enemies in the beginning.
That's deep. That's deep. That's
Mhm.
real deep. That's facts too. Your friends do become your enemies. You got to
Yeah.
watch out for the ones that are closest to you. But uh, yeah,
Yes, sir.
man. That's anything. Can you give advice to the youth? You know what I mean. That have that are in your shoes. That you know what I mean. That have faced hardship.
Mhm.
The gang life.
Mhm.
Maybe struggling with addictions, drug or alcohol addiction, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
Can
most
you give
definitely.
advice to those?
Yeah, most definitely. We have to be mindful that we human beings, and that means something. That means something right there. When you look at other things and God's creation, and you see, the details in it. But then when you look at yourself, right, and you see the details within yourself, then that tells you that your creation, your being is special. So first, it's important to understand your value as a person. Know that you're worth something. And then when you understand that you're worth something, then you start to take steps to cultivate that. So
Right,
my advice to young people is get with people that have sense. If you're listening to a big homie, your big homie, putting you in situations that's trying to get you killed, that's not your big homie. A big homie gonna protect you. A big
right.
homie gonna school you. A big homie gonna be right there with you. So, you have to look at the people that's around you. You have to take a look at that, because it's not about being a fool. Life is precious. Your life is precious. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we have to be more responsible with our life, and we can't just put our life in people's hands that don't care about our life.
That's right.
You know. So my advice is to get with people that care about you. You'll know because people will show you in their actions. We all tell each other, "I love you," but that means nothing without actions. So when people sincerely love you, they'll show you in their actions that they love and they care about you. And those the people that you want inside your space. Them are the people that's gonna help you, do this life journey. And so that comes with paying attention and making good decisions. So, my advice to all young people, know your worth, know your value, get with people that can help you become a better you and make them hard decisions. You know, you'll get over it. It was a fight, it was a disagreement. It comes and goes, but protect your life by all means.
That's right. That's huge, man. Ooh, all these people that have been up here, man. Yeah. I mean, you guys gotta pay some. You guys gotta pay an entry fee for this one because this one's good. You know what I mean? You guys go put some money on Saladin's books because he deserves it, man. Let him go get some none of them top ramens. I know your title is
Yeah,
top ramen, right?
yeah.
you want some of them cakes. You want some of them those
Nutty board.
what's yeah. What, and there's another one too. What's it called? The honey buns, right? The honey
Yeah, yes,
buns.
sir.
You want all that, man. So I'm gonna get with you after this. And I'm gonna situate something with you. I want to get in contact with. But other than that, man, I mean, it's a blessing having you on here. And I mean, one quick thing, like I don't know if you kind of already touched on it, but being 19 years old and doing 20 years, like I'm 22 years old. I'm 20 years. For a crime. Do you think
you were sentenced appropriately? Do you think it was an excessive amount of time? Like during your
Yeah,
sentence, were you like, was there a time where you're like, all right, this is enough? Like I already, got
yeah,
my whatever you want to call it punishment.
yeah. Of course, it's excessive. It's excessive because there's a diabolical plan in the sentencing. You know, um, every 7 years, we develop mentally. So when you from the age of 1 years old to 7, right? You're developing from 7 to 14, from 14 to 21. God tells us in the Bible that He created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day it was perfected. So that number 7 is very valuable within our human development. So every 7 years you're growing into a new person. So it doesn't take me 25 and 30 years, right, to figure out that I don't need to do wrong.
Right.
You follow me, brother? It doesn't take me
Right.
20 years to figure that out because every 7 years I'm developing into a new me.
That's right.
So it's something very diabolical behind the citizen, brother, and they know it. God knows it. That's why He's freeing the captives.
Right. You think it's you think the sentencing, like, yeah, there's some people that deserve, prison, like deserve, like how we were talking about child molesters, sex offenders, whatever, like they deserve it, you know what I mean, right? But you know I mean, come on now. 19 years old, I feel like they could have gave you an alternative, you know, you know, whatever you want to call it, punishment, maybe even like something else. But 20 years, come on now. And I feel like the criminal justice system alone, with the lawyers and attorneys that they give you guys, especially to those that don't have money or any background with law, like law vocabulary or knowledge. You know what I mean? It's like a foreign language, right? When you're sitting in that
Yeah,
chair
definitely.
facing the
Most definitely.
judge,
Most
yeah, and
definitely.
it's like you're trusting this person next to you that you don't know, unless he's your lifelong, family friend, a lawyer, attorney. Your life is in his hands, and you're trusting him. You know what I mean? To give you the
Exactly.
best reasonable sentencing or release. But once
Mhm.
how we talked about backstabbing, and how they talk to prosecutors, defenders, and judges, it's all a system, man. And I feel like personally, because I study criminology, and I know how the tactics work, and you've lived it. Like, you've lived it, so exactly. Like, for me personally, I think it's corrupt, the
Exactly. Most
criminal
definitely,
justice
brother.
system. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I,
Yeah.
and I feel like the prison system, like the rehabilitation, there's more programs I feel like that are giving more opportunity for those. So I feel like it's getting a little bit better, but still not enough, obviously. But the criminal justice for sure is corrupt.
Yeah, most definitely, brother. Like I said, it's something diabolical going on, what I'm saying, going on with that. And then, within the short joint, the African American experience, and we see those who step forth and had courage to try to bring forth a difference and change within our communities and our life. There are powers that be that don't want that, right? So if you don't want something to come forth, when you read the word of God in the book of Exodus, what did Pharaoh say? He said, kill a young black male and let the women live. This is in the Bible, brother.
Crazy.
This is in the Bible, So we reading this, what I'm saying? God is narrating this to us. Pharaoh made a decision to kill the young black men, but let the women live.
Ain't that some?
Think about that, So when you see, all these brothers, incarcerated, you taking us away from our family, right? We can't fend for our family. That turns our women against us because they frustrated, because they have to take on the burden and try to raise their children by themselves. So it just destroys the black family, period.
Right. Absolutely. You think, hey, Saladin, real quick, I'm gonna let you go because I know I don't want to keep you too long, but you think prison is now some sort of a modern day slavery
Most
for the
definitely, brother.
black community? Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, brother. When you look at Hitler and what he did, to the Jews, right, and cut them off and wrote them off, right? This is the same idea. It's just modernized.
Right.
Most definitely, brother. Most
Absolutely.
definitely. You know.
All right, Saladin. Well, man, we
Yes,
we
it's a
said.
pleasure. It's a pleasure, man. I'm grateful, man. I appreciate you so much, brother.
I appreciate you, brother. And for the people that tuned in and you know got a glimpse of Saladin, you know, life and his knowledge. You know, I hope you guys took something from it and you know took down notes because he's a powerful man and we need him out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, next time you guys come in here, it's gonna be $20. So make sure you guys tune. It's a show. It ain't. This ain't for free no more, man. This ain't for free. I don't get paid, but this ain't for free. But but Salden, I'm gonna get with you right after this. Should I text you or should I call you? Got time for a call or no? Or should I text you real quick?
um, yeah, I get with you, brother.
Okay. I'll just shoot you a text. I'll shoot you a text after this. But I appreciate your time, brother. It's truly a blessing to have you on here and you know take your time out. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the head straight. And we're looking forward to getting you out, bro. For you getting out.
Yes, sir. All right.
All
God
right.
bless you and your work, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Blessings, brother.
Yes, sir. Bless you.